We're back here on the platform and speaking with Vivian Whylly today. And earlier on in the program, we talked about the number of judicial reviews that is going on in the Supreme Court of the Bahamas. Started, quite frankly, by Mr. Bacon and his attorneys. I want you to speak to that and the extent to which that might be impacting the situation at Nygard, Key and Clifton.
Well, good question, Mr. Jones. I'll put it to you this way. One, the attorneys that have been retained by this operation of Save the Bays are very good. Let's get that out of the way. Their job is to tie up, delay, postpone, cancel anything to do with Clifton, Heritage Park, or Nygard Key. That is what they want to control. They have put more than judicial reviews, injunctions against the park, injunctions against Nygard Key, injunctions against the building of the dock, injunctions against everything just to delay it. They have an open bank account that needs to be investigated, I'm sure, by the United States people, and they are sending out political messages in the form of environmental cartoons. They are accusing the government of being in collusion with Peter Nygard. That is exactly the opposite. The government has not made any decision, as I know, on the Nygard thing, because they are basically, it's just politically inexpedient for them to appear to be on Nygard's side.
Or is it because these matters are tied up in court?
Both.
Both.
Because the tie-up in court is a strategy of Save the Bays. They don't care. They hope the PLP lose, whoever party win will side with them. But they know the PLP isn't siding with Nygard, but most definitely they're not siding with Save the Bays. Save the Bays is a foreign operation.
Why would you say that?
Because it's funded by foreign money.
So could it be a local operation that is funded by foreign money?
It is foreign because their objectives and their game plan is orchestrated by foreigners, and the lawyers are the instruments. Mind you, when last you saw a Save the Bay protest? Everything is in the courts. When last have you seen Louis Bacon?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
That's what I'm saying. This is foreign. I have seen him. I know that he works out of London through Turks and Caicos and other places where he does his business transaction free from American interference, because he's been tried, not tried, but found guilty or pleaded guilty to insider trading.
His organization has, not people in his organization.
Well, if Wendell Jones,
I don't know if he has.
If Jones Communication has a case in court, more than likely it affects Wendell Jones. Don't you agree? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if more capital is fined, the guy who did the supposed act resigns, right? Takes the blame and resigns. That doesn't stop the fact that more capital did the act. They say, oh, it's him, it's not us. But the us sacrificed to him. That's how they do it. If you can get fined $150 million and pay it just to keep it quiet, because they estimate you made $1 billion. you just got away with $800 million. That's the type of people we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who calculate the risk, and if it's financially beneficial to them, they take it, and they win either way. Take the billion, take the fine, windfall of 800.
So Bacon has been quite litigious, eh?
Yes.
Quite a number of
Lethargic.
matters before the courts, not only in the Bahamas, but outside the Bahamas as well.
Yes, yes. And his company also, the insider trader was this guy. He's the bad guy. But he was doing it on the behalf of whom? More capital. It's a sacrifice to gain. And so what is happening, Fred Smith is putting all this thing, my life is in danger. Louis Bacon, the other people, I don't even know all of them. They make me know, I know they phony. I know there's a setup. If your life in danger, before you put in something to the court, why don't you go to the commissioner of police? So they are holding up our courts and not going to the chief prosecutor, the attorney general, and the commissioner of police. See, that's the problem Bahamians need to look at.
So it's an abuse of the court system?
Yes, yes. They have over 12 or 13 lawsuits in the courts against Nygard Key and Clifton. See, you got to look at it, Mr. Jones. These people in the back of Lightfoot Key who live on Clifton Bay, all are white. When you have a beach party like Labor Day on Clifton, guys go there with their jet ski, their boats, snorkeling, swimming, they play music, and people don't want to see us over there. They don't.
Why?
Because we are not their type. That's what's going on. You have a situation where people in Lightfoot Key want to park there, but they don't want Bahamians to use it. Why stop a dock that will assist Bahamians and have them enjoy the park from being built? Just why? It doesn't make any sense other than they don't want to see us. Remember, you know, most of us came here below the decks of ships with a lock on it. You know, we couldn't get out and come up for air. We were told what to do. We were fed. We were watered down like cattle. You understand? There are certain people, when they see black people, they think of feces, somebody who can't marry their daughter or their son, and somebody they don't trust. Because you know why they don't trust us? What they've done to us was so wrong that they always are afraid that we're going to remember. We're going to remember Kate, who was, they put pepper in the wounds that they gave her when they whipped her and put her in a stockade like a crab pen, and she died. They're going to remember people who they brought to the Bahamas and kept in servitude into generations. And they're going to know that they owe black people an apology. And Queen Victoria put aside a reparations bill, so did Abraham Lincoln. They don't want us to talk about these things. They want us to listen to them, trust them, distrust each other, and love only them, and hate each other. Envy, hate, distrust is what they teach us to do towards each other. And you know why? I'll tell you why. You have some people who work in the back of Lightfoot Key for $200 a week. Been there for 30 years. when they ready, they tell them, okay, you've been here 30 years. Here's a little check. You can go. Now, during that 30 years, how many times have they gone behind Lightfoot Key for a social event? No, they're prepared for all, attended none. You understand? The psyche of them working in Lightfoot Key has been sold to them by persons living in Lightfoot Key as their life's achievement, to be a maid in Lightfoot Key for 30 years, to be a butler for 30 years. But every night the work finished, you had to go somewhere else to sleep. You can work for us, but you can't be with us. We have a non-racial stigma about Lightfoot Key, but it's quasi mind-blowing because they say the people are rich, and that makes it okay for them to be treated in that way.
So the underlying tone of all of this, the underlying reason for Nygard to be treated the way he is being treated, has to do with race?
It has to do with Mr. Nygard allowing, you know, like how it was all right when they was on George Beach, but when Peter opened up his house to the local people, it brought it too close. It brought it past their houses. It brought the people on the other side of the bay, and Peter Nygard had to go. That's all this is. Mr. Jones, why shouldn't Mr. Nygard be allowed to rebuild his house? Why should Mr. Nygard be ostracized for allowing local people to enjoy his property in a black country? Why? Mind you, I put it to you this way. I often say this. If we were in the slavery days, Peter Nygard would be lynched for allowing Negroes into these highfalutin areas. Look at the Lightfoot Key Club. Look at a southern plantation home in Georgia and Tennessee. It's the same architecture. It's the same mindset. You know?
Interesting. You've studied this apparently for many years. You've been thinking about it. You've been at the forefront of the fight for Clifton, haven't you?
Yes. Mr. Jones, the only thing I can say to the government is this. No matter what happens to this body, the truth will never change. They looked at me as a problem when I challenged the Clifton Key development. Could you imagine what would have happened if that wasn't a park? It would have been a gated community, another Lightfoot Key. We couldn't go there, and the beach would have been taken from us.
You stood before a tractor.
I had to.
Why?
Because he was going to break down the slave huts and the walls.
So the tractor was
sent by the Ministry of Works.
Yes, and it was on and running?
Yeah, but
you were calling the bluff of the tractor driver? What were you doing?
I was taking a stand. It had nothing to do with the driver.
The tractor was moving in your direction?
It was moving towards the buildings, and I stood between, excuse me, I stood between the building and the tractor. And I told him he can't break this down. It's just a pile of rocks. Well, the pile of rocks turned out to be a historical building.
And those are some of the buildings that are there now?
Still standing.
Those are the slave huts.
Yes, sir.
That-
And the gift shop and so on that side, on the other side.
And so some tractor driver was instructed to push them down.
Yeah, so that it wouldn't be an issue in the approval of the development of Clifton Key. You know, this is not made up history. These things happen. And if you really look at what Clifton is all about, even today, the management team are facing court action from Save the Base. They cannot tell me that they can run the park better. What they wanted to do was put the park under their control. We're talking about the Bahamas National Trust, brief. We're talking about some other people involved in Save the Base thinking that they could run the park better. But the Clifton Heritage Authority, under the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museums, or in cooperation with them, keep the park running. See, it's about the control of money. A lot of people think that I'm being political when I say this, but the Prime Minister of the PLP government, the cabinet, and the government of the Bahamas is well aware of the cultural impact Clifton had on history. He ain't just come to know about Clifton, you know. When he was in the opposition, he was telling them they was doing wrong. And I remember when they had the prayer vigil and the press statement and everything out there, Mr. Christie said that it would come to be that. This is not a political thing. This is an actual fact. The Honorable Perry Christie has, for the most part, been responsible for the development of what you see today, because there's been more improvements at the park under the present managing director than all of the previous ones combined.
Improvements such as what?
The improvements are simple. He has put more trails in, more benches in for sitting, for people to walk through the park and rest and stop. All the bathrooms are working. He's installed solar lighting. He has a plan to create a big restaurant and staff area overlooking the ocean to make it like a national park. See, what's happening is these Save the Base people wanted to stay with trees and this and that, and that's all well and good. But Mr. Jones, I will tell you, that is not how you enjoy the park. You enjoy the park by clearing spaces, put in benches, put in picnic tables, and so on. That's how you enjoy the park.
Let's take this final break on the program. This is The Platform. Vivian Whylly is our guest on the program. We'll come right back.
Okay.